sorry, sir.
Come on now. Work that pedal. Come on, man.
Yo, yo, you going mute again? What happened?
I can see you. I just can't hear you. I just can't hear you. Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying? Since you doing that, let me just if you know what I'm saying, if you're gonna do that, you know what I'm saying? I just
That's my song right there, boy.
I'm telling you, man. Let me tell you something. I don't
That's
care
my
what nobody
song
says.
right there.
Yeah, I might be a little biased when it comes to this hip hop thing. Fix that the echo cancellation, P.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, yeah. I might be a little biased when it comes to this hip hop thing, and I don't care. Call it what you want,
Call it what you
but
will. Call it what you want. Call it what you will.
I don't care what you call it. A tribe definitely got to be like top three hip hop groups ever,
Come on, boy. Them,
and
them
I'm talking
boys.
about in the same category as Run DMC. I'm talking about same category as Eric B and Rakim. Yeah, I'm ballsy like that.
Yeah, you got to be ballsy like that because them guys ain't no joke. Them boys
You
are
know
no
what I'm
joke.
saying?
Every time I hear their music, man, it's like I'm
Yeah,
feeling that.
it's unfair.
It's unfair to the rest. You mean that's what you mean,
Yes,
or it's
that's what
unfair
I'm
that
saying. It's unfair. It's unfair that they should be that dope. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah, yeah,
unfair. It's
yeah, yeah.
unfair.
I'll tell you
It's
this much, man. I am 100% excited about their Hall of Fame. Is that it?
yeah,
Music Hall
yeah.
of Fame,
Induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Not
rock
just
and roll.
the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's a lot, bro.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. Yo, listen, man. So we haven't been together for 2 weeks, man. But it was
Two
all good
weeks.
reasons, man. All good reasons. It wasn't laziness.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It
I
wasn't,
could be lazy, Chief. I'm telling you, I could be lazy.
bruh. Another
I'm telling
week
you.
of this, and I would have been lazy.
Right, 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 right,
Like
right. So
I go from vacation to COVID, you know what I'm saying, and being forced to lay up. You know what I'm saying? Fate said, you know what I'm saying, it's a good thing though, because sometimes God gotta slow you down because you won't slow yourself
absolutely,
down.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, man, absolutely. So how was your vacation? You enjoyed it?
It was good, man. We started the joint off and went to Curacao. We left out of Port Canaveral. It's
Oh, wait,
funny, man.
Port
I saw
Canaveral is it
uh it's over there where Fort Lauderdale is somewhere. It's like
okay? Because
above
I didn't
above.
want to sound I didn't want to sound stupid just now, bro.
Nah, you good. Because I ain't gonna lie, I was lost for a minute too.
Okay.
But Port Canaveral is over there on the east side of Florida. I saw
Mm,
the NASA building. Like, cause it's where the boats come in. It's not far from, so you can see the NASA building. And if you go further down, you can see where they launched the rockets from.
okay.
So
Okay.
that was interesting to see. But we spent the first 2 days at sea. I'm gonna tell you something every time I go on a cruise, P.
Mm.
Like those ships are massive, first of all.
Yeah, but
They're
so is that
massive
ocean.
ships, bruh.
So is that
But
ocean.
I'm getting to the ocean in a minute.
Okay, I'm sorry,
Like,
bro. It's okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
like like you see there's two ships that Royal Caribbean Cruise Line has, that and they're
Mhm.
building another one now. There's the Voyager of the Sea, and then they got this ship that holds about 10,000 people. It's called uh, the Icon of the Sea. Bro, it looked like a city on water. Like for real, it looked like a city on water, B.
Yeah.
And so we out on this ship, right? But then when you get out into the ocean, P, like where it's nothing but 360 degrees of water and no island, no land in sight, right? You start to really um get an idea
Hmm.
of who you are in the grand scheme of things.
I hear you, man.
You know
I
what I'm
hear you.
saying? Like, and
Mhm.
then immediately I know what the writer was saying now when he was saying, "What is man that thou art mindful of?"
Mindful of him. Come on, bro. Come on. Come
Like
on.
we ain't. When I say we ain't not, when you get out there, you recognize who you are, who he is. Kid, you ain't nobody.
Nah.
You ain't
Nope.
nobody in the grand scheme of things. There, like
Eh,
I started doing some research to find out what was the deepest part of the ocean, and it was the equivalent to 25,000 miles or something like that. You know how deep that is?
That's deep.
No,
That's,
25,000 feet.
that's
I'm sorry, not miles.
feet.
25,000 feet. 25,000 plus feet under. I know what 16 feet look like. I know what 30 feet look
Brother,
like.
I know it is to get into a pool where I see 12 feet, right? Or how about this? 5 feet
Yeah,
and you can't swim.
yeah.
Okay.
Now I could swim. You know what I'm saying? That's never been. I'll tell you this. We went to Aruba. One of the stops was in Aruba, and so
Hmm.
they take you snorkeling, and then in Aruba on one part of the island. It's not a very big island, but it's one of the most beautiful islands out in the Caribbean. Right, water,
Hmm.
everything, beach, everything. They take us to this old World War II ship where it sunk just off the coast of Bermuda. It's probably about 2 to 3 miles out, right, from the coastline. And I dive under, like, just imagine a World War II ship, the length of the ship, right? Yo, first of all, the ship was broken in half. And there's like, if you want to see the good part, you got to swim further out. So I swam, bruh. I'm looking below me.
You're talking foolishness right now, my brother.
Yo, no, I'm because I got the gear on. I got the goggles on. I got my flippers on because when you swimming in that kind of water, you want flippers because it'll propel you better. I'm looking down there, and there is this feeling of like like blown away, but there's this eerie feeling as well
Mhm.
because you watching this ship that's been sitting here since World War II.
Wow.
Like, and when I say long, the ship gotta be like almost the length of a it felt like it was almost the length of a football field.
Come
So
on,
I can
man.
see, so I dove down, right, to go and touch the part that's because it's sitting on its side. I
Uh-huh.
dove down, used the flippers, went down and touched the highest part to the surface under there. And I was already at like maybe about 15, 16, anywhere between 16 to 20 feet. I was
Come
I
on,
was
man.
there.
Come on.
But
Come
I
on.
was like, don't go no lower because I can feel my chest getting heavier and my ears going because of the
Yeah,
pressure. Because
you're playing game.
I didn't properly equalize before I went down. This
Okay.
white chick comes down because you know it's an old ship now, so the bottom is gone. She comes down, swims under the bottom, comes out through the top, and then comes back up right in front of me, blown away.
Yeah.
Then after that, we see one sea turtle swim one way, another sea turtle swim another way, and I'm just sitting here watching all of this, and I'm looking at like, yo, who are you in the grand scheme of all of this right here?
What is it again? What is man that thou art
What is
mindful?
man?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, man.
What is
It's real.
man?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. All in all, dope trip. You know what I'm saying? The marriages were blessed. They came
Hmm.
back like, yo, you can never stop doing this. I'm like,
Right.
we gotta stop at some time. But my hope is that well, I think what I'm going to do is we're going to chill in 2025 so we can make it bigger, P.
Yeah.
And then yeah, man, get your stuff together in 2026. Let's go cruise again and have a whole bunch of people on, and let's do a proper joint.
Yo, listen, man. I'm so happy for you, man. Just taking that little break right there.
Yeah,
But then
we
but
need
then
to,
you come back and then you got broken.
man. It blasted one of the waiters. He was coughing. I think that last second to last morning we had breakfast in the dining hall. My man's he's like, yo, yo, what's going on, my man, right here? So I don't know if it was him, but the last night Faith was feeling chills,
Hmm.
and I had a little bit of a cough, but I was like, nothing. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? We get to back to my mother's house, and now the cough is intensified.
Hmm.
The cough had gotten so bad at one point, P, like my eyes were bloodshot red because of the force that was going to. Yeah, that's how bad I was coughing. Like Faith, so you sure you're not? I said, no, that's years past. We don't
Yeah, right, right. They,
we don't do that again.
no, sir.
We don't do that again. But nah, that's how bad the cough had gotten. So we kind of had to, of course, none of the kids got it, which was good.
Oh,
As
that's
soon as
good.
I
That's good.
found out I got it, we was like, pack up everything. We out. We
Wow,
got to
wow.
leave mom's house and come back. So we came back.
Good.
Man, we pretty much just quarantined ourselves in the room and carrying on like two teenagers. But
That's it.
yeah,
That's it. That's it.
that's it.
That's it. That's it. Yo, man, listen. I got a question for you, man.
Yeah,
And it may serve for others tonight.
yeah.
How do you know when it's time to say I do?
How do
And
you
how do
know?
you know that that's the right I do person?
Mm.
All right, man. Cue that one right there, boy.
So, um, I think when you come into, how do I want to say this? I don't know if I'm going to say this right, but I'm going to say it
All right.
how I'm thinking it. I think when you get to the place,
Hold up. You ain't got to be, you ain't got to be right, you know.
no. I'm saying like if I like saying it, making sure I'm saying it right for me, so it come out right. So you know what I'm saying.
All right.
I think for me, okay. So let me say it like this first. When I got divorced the first time, I
Hmm.
realized why I got divorced
Okay.
for a number of reasons. Number
Hmm.
one, I had no business being anybody's husband because I wasn't a husband yet,
Okay.
much less to be anybody's father. And the reasons that I made my decision as far as relationship was concerned was all surface attributes, like how big a booty was, how nice
Hmm.
her breast was, how she looked, how she appealed to me, what she could do for me sexually, and if we had good chemistry. Right. So I was vetting the individual out when the truth of the matter is I needed to vet me out. And I think that's where it starts. So when you say when when do you know the right time is the right time? I think you know it's the right time when you know you the way you're supposed to know you.
Yo, but isn't that person that you married to help you
Yeah.
know who you are?
They do, but here's the funny thing though. God is so dope at what he does. He causes us to be in relationship. Then
Right.
he causes us to be in a vow.
Okay.
Then he says, what I've put together, let no man, including the two that I put together, tear asunder.
All
So
right.
now I'm forced now. That's why I tell people like me and Faith is probably on our third or fourth marriage right now.
Together.
You know what I'm
Together.
saying? We've
Yeah,
been
yeah,
we
yeah,
on our
yeah, yeah.
third
I
or
like
fourth
that. I like
marriage right
that.
now.
I like that. I like that.
And the reason why I'm saying it is because like you want to get to the place where you know you as best as you possibly can.
Hmm.
You self-assess. You know the good is the good about you. Ain't nobody tripping over the good stuff about you. It's the stuff that's not so good, the stuff that you don't like about you. And the chances are great that if you don't like it about you, that some other folk may not like it about you either, including the person you're about to be in a relationship with, like the defensiveness of you,
Right, right, right.
right? The traumatic experiences that have a way of rearing their ugly head in certain situations. Like, do you know those things about
Yeah,
you?
right.
And what have you done to heal, work with? Because now once you've gotten to the place where you know you good enough to make a decision, there's still yet evolution because the person who you were when you said yes is not the person that you are 5 years into the marriage, 10
Which,
years.
which, which, which is true. But see, and the thing is, if you're not the same person, are you growing or are you
That,
dying?
that part. Because there's no in between.
Right. There can't be an in between.
Right?
In any relationship, right? Are you growing or are you dying? I mean, I look at myself even like as a pastor, and I
Yeah.
pastored what 9 churches in my life, right? In any time, you're in relationship with your church.
Yeah.
So if you're in relationship with your church, it's either growing or it's dying
That's it.
under your leadership.
That's it.
So I kind of look at marriage a lot like two people going into leadership together. You know what I'm saying? And
That's it.
either your business is growing or your business is dying. The
And here,
crazy thing about marriage or relationships is that if it's dying, I'm gonna tell you this is what's messed up. If it's dying, more likely you're going to say it's the other person's fault why it's dying.
that's
Right?
99.999% of the time.
Okay. And if it's going great, you're gonna attribute it going great to you. You see where I'm coming from?
But P, this is the reason why I'm saying people don't really understand what divorce is. The first
Okay.
part of why people get divorced is because of the inability to self-assess.
All right.
Just to your point where you just said there right now, when things is going bad, you always gonna point the finger at the other person, not
Absolutely.
realizing
It's easier
that
to do it.
you play a role in that just as much as they
Mhm.
do. The reason you don't see it is because you don't have the eyes for self-assessing. If you did,
Uh,
then you could say, you know what? I, I'm not going to take responsibility for all of this, but this part right here, I definitely
I'm
do.
gonna say that's on me.
Yeah, this is on me.
You gotta say something.
Yeah,
This
nigga,
is
you
on
got
me.
when you can sit and look at yourself in the mirror. I don't know if people talk to themselves like this, but I do. Like,
Okay.
yeah, nigga,
Okay.
you, Negro,
You you did that.
you did that.
How about that? That one's on you.
Yep. And
Yeah,
now,
I got you.
now after I've beat myself up after a day for like, nigga, you know better. You know you're not supposed. I got to go back and apologize now.
Absolutely. But one of the hardest things is to be humble in a marriage or in a relationship.
That's it.
Your humility in a relationship is
Here's the funny thing though, Pete. Is it really the hardest thing, or is it our perception of it being the hardest thing?
mm,
Because I know dudes who just like, yeah, that's me. Let me go on and own up to that.
all
I
right.
apologize for it and keep it moving and be good and not lament over it. Like me,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know where we come from. Like nobody no say you're wrong.
Yo,
Nobody tell
listen.
nobody your business. Nobody
No,
cry.
no,
Yeah,
no.
bati man if you cry. Yeah.
That's right. Oh yeah.
Saying
That,
like,
you listen, man. You grew up in a sense where, or you're raised in a sense where, if you know you're wrong, don't say it.
yeah,
Look at Mike Dorsch, man. He makes a statement, man.
that's the
He says,
homie.
when do you know when you're ready for marriage? He said, when you open the door. What did he say there?
And they unlock the door for you. When they reach over and unlock the door for you when you go
Let
back
me
to
tell you. Let me tell you why that's an old school statement that
it's
Mike just
Carlito
made.
way. I remember that.
That's what my dad told me.
Yeah,
My mom also told me, man, get rid of the one that if they get the 25-cent chips from the local bodega and they don't even share it with you,
yeah.
you don't need to be with them.
No,
Can you
that's
believe
it.
that? Can you
That's it.
believe that?
That's
Yo,
great.
see, and this is what I'm about to say. Karen just said, yo, who's still driving a car like
You
that?
feel me? You feel me? Who's still driving that?
Like you got cars now that when you walk up to it, it open. You hear me?
You feel what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness. Hey, check out Adriana, man. She makes a comment here, man.
What she said.
She says, my divorce was because I refused to
Ooh.
play the role his mother played in her marriage.
Oh.
Love her, but that ain't my testimony. Oh,
Well, see, that's the thing. Like when you vetting people out, you gotta vet you out. Now you know good and well from the start when you married that woman that she wasn't about being like your mama. And if you knew that, then you had a decision to make. Our
yeah.
problem is we looking to change people. Men go
Mm.
into relationships thinking that you won't change, and women go into relationships looking to change you. Let's keep it 100.
Okay, let me. I'm going to say this. Take a stab at it, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
If
yeah,
there's anything that you personally changed
yeah,
in yourself in your marriage,
yeah.
where have you changed?
Stop being as defensive as I used to be. When Faith points stuff out to me, I don't get defensive about it no more. I ask her how you feel about it. I feel like that ain't me. Because you don't never want to see yourself as, you know what I'm saying? Like I-
As the dirty dude,
yeah, you don't want to see yourself as that. And that's one of the things that I had to do. Like, nigga, you defensive. Stop fronting like you're not defensive. You
right? You
defensive.
defensive.
She brought a problem to you. And see, the good thing about, see, this is the reason why I'm saying information changes situations.
Uh-huh.
When
Well, you
she's
said
telling you
information changes
information changes
changes
situations.
situations. I like that. I like
You know
that.
what I'm saying?
Somebody
I'll
post
even
that.
I'll even go as far as to say information applied changes situations because you can have the
Wow.
information and not do nothing
Do
with it.
nothing with it. That's
You know what I'm
true.
saying?
Information applied
Changes
changes
situations.
situations. I like that, man. I like that.
So she would
I
tell
like
me
that.
this stuff, and I would watch her when I would get defensive. She'd just shut down, and then after a while, she wouldn't say it no more. You feel what I'm saying? But what
Mhm.
am I saying? Yeah, I hear you, but it's the but. I hear you, but I ain't really gonna do nothing about it. And that's not the. I'm not saying that, but that's the message that I'm sending to her. And I don't want to send that message like I don't care about what you're saying or what you're thinking or what you're feeling. If you got a problem with me, if there's one place that you should go to be able to, it's here, right? That's what this whole relationship is about. And so I remember her changing her tone up, and she said, one of the things is that you don't listen to me when I bring my grievances to you.
Wow.
And I was
Wow.
like, I don't. And it was all because she changed. Because yeah, Faith got away. And Puerto Ricans is peppery, bro.
Peppery, bro.
Yeah, they peppery, bro.
Yo, check out
People
Terry. What does Terry got to say? Check that
Yeah.
out.
People can change, but unusually they don't. Change requires accountability, and folks don't want to be accountable, so they do the familiar. Nah, they don't want to face themselves, is what they don't want to do. I agree
Yeah.
with that. I ain't gonna lie, Terry. I agree with it 100%. But if that's accountable though, if the accountable includes having to face you about you, then yeah.
Mm.
And yeah.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
realized that if we want to be great, then those are the things that we got, even from a personal level. Like if you want to be great, you really do have to look at the things about you that are not in alignment with who you are or where you're trying to go.
I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you, man. Yo, let me tell you something, man. What's so beautiful about change is that if you do it, you benefit. And
Yeah.
if you do it, you both benefit. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what I found out? And let me say it low, P, because I don't want to say it. Shucks, I know we on Facebook. A lot of the times when my family is not behaving the way that it should,
Yeah.
or the
You need me whisper with
personalities,
you? Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the personalities and stuff ain't
Yeah.
right, and it's clashing and all kinds of. It's because I'm not addressing me the way that I should. Because
Yeah.
when you change and when you apply information and it
Hmm.
becomes evident, it is the catalyst for everybody else's change in the house.
Uh, so
Right?
you make that change. Go
I,
ahead. Go
I
ahead. Go ahead.
I remember Zoe came to me one time, and Zoe was like, "Daddy, you different." I said, "Different." I like to get indignant for a minute. She was like, "What you mean different? Like I lost my swag? Like." She was like,
Mm.
I'm like, yeah, don't play because what you little bit you got from me. You know what I'm saying? So don't. But she was like, no. She was like, no, not like that. Like in your emotional development is what
Wow.
she said.
Wow.
She said, you
Wow.
don't scream no more. You don't yell and holler at stuff. Like, and we had a conversation about it, and I was just like, scream and holler for what? So you could get angry and drive away. I want you to receive what I'm saying. Now, y'all do
Saying.
some dumb stuff. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. Y'all do some dumb stuff, and it's disappointing sometimes. But one thing I definitely don't want it to do is cause you to think that my love for you is gone, like our relationship is jacked up. It stresses my relationship with you. Yes, it does, but
Hmm.
it ain't no love lost. And if I scream, I don't want you to run away from me because my voice can get real. You know how like what happened when we start screaming and yelling, like, and then the sarcasm and everything else behind it, like it don't feel good. I don't
No,
want
I
that.
don't
I
feel
want
good.
you to receive
Yeah.
what it is that I'm saying so you could
But, but,
apply it. So
but here's what's tough about that. What's so tough about that is not only are you not learning from each other during that time,
yeah,
but you're building up walls during that
yep,
time.
yep,
And not
man,
only are you building up walls,
man, P,
but as difficult as it is to just
man,
communicate, is as difficult as is getting as time passes on to, you know, to talk about the issue. Yo, let
Yeah.
me tell you something. There are times when you just want to sit up and say, okay, hey, listen, here's an issue. This is how I'm feeling, so and so, whatever. And you don't want to sit because you don't want to feel like I'm putting myself out there and then gonna be no change. Marriage, I believe, or I'm gonna go as far as to say any relationship, right? Marriage or any relationship is about the risk of losing. Uh, um, it's the risk of not getting what you want in that relationship. There's people who will not get married because they're not risking themselves. So
Okay.
when you get into a situation where you're arguing or
Dang.
you're combative with one another, the real issue is that you're choosing. I'm gonna tell you this right. Um, you're
Oh, you
choosing
son.
to be defensive and not to grow. Listen, man. My biggest issue when it comes to
Yo.
relationships like this is when individuals, I can even say within even my marriage or any relationship that I may be in, is when you say, "Yo, I refuse to grow from here. I just refuse to grow from here. I'd rather stay where I am than grow from here." You know, and as what's the name talked about, Antoinette talked about earlier, she was just like, "Yo, that pride issue is big. That pride issue is big."
Perpetually repeating ignorant decisions every day.
Perpetually
Repeating
what? Repeating.
ignorant, ignorant decisions
Uh,
every day. That's what pride is.
Sucky now.
That's what pride is. It's an acronym.
Okay. I like
So
that.
we
Somebody got to write that down one more time. One more time. Somebody write that down for us.
perpetually repeating ignorant decisions every day.
Mm. Wow.
But you,
Wow.
but you said something a while ago. This is the reason why I'm saying, like, even from a husband's perspective,
Okay.
right, P, that we don't really understand the depth of marriage.
Mm.
For this reason, for the reason of marriage, shall a man leave his mother and father, cleave to his
Hmm.
wife, and the two shall become one flesh.
Right.
All right,
Right.
cool. Then he goes on and he says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave
Hmm.
his life for it.
Right. Right.
Do we understand how deep that text is? Because
Mhm.
just based upon what you said a while ago, like, we want to communicate certain things, but we don't want to put ourselves out there for the fact that if we do, we were vulnerable and no change might become behind it. And
Yeah.
then I read texts like this, right? Let me just put it up there, Pete, because
Okay.
hold on, where is it at? That's it. That's the one. That's the one. Then I read text like this. Tell me if you can see that. Can you see that right there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But God demonstrates his own love for
Yeah.
us in this, that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us.
While y'all was still arguing, you're dying for her.
So, like, he
You
already
hear what I
knew
just said? You hear what I just said?
wow. I heard you loud and clear. I heard you loud
Wow.
and clear.
The
So,
while is the while is the jacked up part. It's while the BS is happening, while the hell is happening, while the mess is happening. We, instead of showing love towards one another, we crucify each other.
so, so the two things that I'm hearing is, no matter what happens, you show love, right? And you continuously show it, because now I'm going to be operating through you now because you operate in my element,
Okay.
right? So you may not see it when you want to see it, but trust me, I'm working.
Mm-hmm.
The minute that you stop working, you jack up my plan to fix this. And we can fix this a whole lot quicker than you think we can fix it, because you caught
Mm-hmm.
up in your own ideas about how this is supposed to turn out. And you
Okay.
drawing your conclusions about, is it going to be received? If it's not going to be received, all of this other, God, he didn't tell you do none of that. Now
Right.
you lifting my weight now. And I never ordained you to lift my weight.
Right. Right. Right.
No,
Right.
no
Right.
wonder you so miserable, because you trying
Because
to be me. You trying to
you're
be
trying to
God
be me.
now.
You're trying to lift my weight. Oh my gosh. You're killing me, man. You're killing me. You're
So
killing me,
while
man.
we were in the minute, like sometimes you just gotta know, like, yo, this is the right thing to do. If I'm supposed to be vulnerable, I don't have to be do it with everybody, but I sure enough got to do it with the person that I'm living with.
Yep.
And if I don't get what I'm supposed to get, chalk it to the game. God going to take care of what he needs to take care of. But I operated the way that he ordained me to operate. A lot of the times, here it is again, divorce takes place.
Yeah.
It's because of the inability to self-assess
Self-assess.
and lacking tools necessary to navigate difficult situations.
Okay. Okay.
Period.
Okay. We talked about that before.
Mm.
Let's talk about the last part of what you just said.
Yep.
All right. Let's talk about the last part of what you just said.
Yep.
Tools.
Yep.
Tools.
Yep.
You listen, you gotta want the tools. And like you said, the tools are well, listen, the tools are information, right? Doesn't mean it's applied.
That's it.
It just does not mean that it's applied. When
That's
where do
it.
we get these and where do we get these tools from? Where do we get the information from? I think that we spend a lot of time dealing with the negative instead of getting prepared for the negative.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody asked this question, man. Angela asked this question. Go ahead with that question, man. Catch an
She
answer there.
said, shouts out to Angela. She said, but when that happens, when one of you don't show up and refuse to show up and it's wearing you out because they refuse to show up. Yep.
Yeah.
See, there's a lot more to that. Sorry, Angela, but a lot of the times when I see that right there, like in especially manifested in relationships, like this is stuff that you should have known about this person from the. See, this is the reason why you got to vet you out because some of us are making decisions to choose life partners, and you're not thoroughly you making decisions based on some. That's the reason how I know that I ended up in divorce. I ended up choosing a woman for a lifelong relationship, and all of the things that I needed to ask or all of the things that I needed to have conversations about, I didn't even have the wherewith to, because I wasn't a husband myself.
Uh,
I wasn't
uh-huh.
the dude. This is the reason why I'm saying, like, for real, when you hear me talk about foundation, love, lifestyle, and legacy, who are you as an individual? Do you have core values? Do you have any
Cool.
values?
Listen, man. Listen. I don't
You know what
remember
I'm saying?
I remember the last time when we were together face to face. I'm talking about when we were doing this marriage retreat.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I'm doing now. I just started this thing, man. Just a couple of days ago, put it out there that I'm starting to do premarital counseling,
Yeah.
right? Premarital counseling. And in doing premarital counseling, do you know that part of the premarital counseling I'm doing is core values?
It has to be. It
Core
has.
values. Well,
Roy Disney, Walt
let
Disney's
me.
brother.
Oh, I don't have it here. Okay, I had it somewhere else, but I was showing you. I was trying to show you this joint where it said core values. Go ahead, Roy
Yeah.
Disney. Go ahead.
Roy Disney said, it is not difficult to make a decision when you know what your core values are.
It is. Give it. Say it again. Say it again.
He said, Roy Disney, Walt Disney's brother, he said, it is not difficult to make a decision when you know what your core values are. Because
Wow.
it's the metric system by which you live your life. When I'm about to do a thing, what does my core value say?
Yeah.
I
How does it?
value peace. So all that
Right.
argument and drama and back and forth, yeah, I'm good on that. The- you have, hey, you got it. You're absolutely right. I'm
Right.
wrong, so that you can be right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I value peace. I
Yeah.
value peace. It's a
Because you
core
value
value
peace.
of
That's your
mine.
that is your core value.
And I don't value just peace. I value my peace. So I will make myself wrong so that you can be right. So, and then I know it based upon what my core values are, whether I need for you to be in a long-lasting relationship with me, platonic, romantic, or whatever else. If you even need to be in some way, shape, or form in my life, yeah,
Yeah.
because I value my peace. See,
You
what ends
know.
up happening is people say they value certain things in their life, but you could tell that they don't based upon the behavior. Remember, your spirit can't hold a secret that your behavior won't reveal.
Won't reveal. Right. Right. A statement was made just now, right here.
Mhm. Yes,
Sade
indeed.
makes escape me. Remember that sister that was on the other day that just tried to take over our show? Remember?
Sade, that's the homie. That's the homie.
Hey, she the real. She the real boy. She the
Yes,
real.
indeed. Yes,
The
indeed.
issue, she said, the issue is that too often people don't know their own core values. Just
They
what you
don't.
said. They don't know the values of which they, that raised them. And sometimes it's not just the value that raised you. Sometimes it's the value that you've accepted, like church issues, religion, spirituality, or what have you. These are some of the core values. I mean, these are some of the things that implements our core values. But then we have issues of, hey, I don't want to do that again. I mean, you were married before. You're now married. You're now married again. And said there's no way that I'm going to let that happen again. It becomes a
Most
part of your core
definitely.
value.
Nah, that ain't
You
never
know,
happening again, bro.
I hear you. I hear you. I
Mm.
hear you. So I think it's amazing sometimes when we look at what we value, and I think that why many divorces happen or break down in relationships is that our value is not our core value. It just may be yours alone.
Yeah. So I I,
Remember,
I just
remember,
want to
remember
jump.
what you did. Remember that give me a second. There's something that
Uh-huh,
you did
uh-huh,
a couple of years ago,
mhm,
and I do that in every session, man. In every session, you have your own core value, right? I
mhm,
have my own core values.
mhm,
What I mean by that, I'm sorry, she has her own core values. I have my own core values.
mhm.
What's important is that you got to come together and recognize which one are similar and which one is divisive in your relationship.
See, this is the reason why the perfect segue back into what Angela was saying, because she said, "What happens when one of you don't show up and
Show up.
refuse to show up?" First of all, if we discussed in the beginning what our core values were in terms of relationship, this should not be an issue.
Mm,
You understand what I'm saying? But if
yeah.
I'm not the person that I need to be to even ask, or don't even have, I'm not the best version of myself I need to be in terms of relationship to even ask those questions, right? And if I do have core values and I value them like I say I do, then I understand that this is we talking about lifetime decision right
Oh yeah.
now. And
Oh
I know
yeah.
this is only dating, but we grown and we laying foundational work. Remember, I told you I can't say her name, right?
Okay. Don't
Because
just don't.
you
Okay.
know our community is mad. She was well to do. She went out on a date with a dude who was also well to do. You know what I'm saying? I thought they would have been the like one of the illest power couples in our community, right? She was telling me about the Q. She's like, when I tell you, I was wide open. Conversation was great. Where homie took me to dinner. I was going to take him to dinner. He's like, no, I can't have you do that. He's like, this is our first date. I'm taking you to. She was like, my man is just mentally checking. You know what I'm saying? All the
Yeah.
boxes.
Checking all the boxes. Yes.
We
Yes.
they get there, bro. They having conversation. P. I'm talking about it's heavy. She was like, I almost risked it all that night. Right? So they having conversation, they talking everything lovely,
Yeah.
right? She was like, at some point in time, you know, saying, I want to have some kids. He's like, he said, my sister got kids. I'm good. He said, when I see, I pick them up, you know what I'm saying? They come spend time with me. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, my life right now, I love the way my life is. You know what I'm saying? My lifestyle. He said, kids, I just feel as lovely as they are. I just don't think that they for me, they might complicate my life the way that it is right now. I don't know if I'm ready to
Wow.
do that.
Wow.
So she said they going back in the conversation. The rest of the night is lovely. I'm talking about they
Hmm.
still talking,
Right.
right? He drops her off at home that night after the date is done, and you know she kisses his cheek and was like, "All right." You know what I'm saying? He's like, when can I see you again? Or can I see you again? And she was like, no. And my man was dumbfounded,
She was like, no.
no. She said it. She was like, no, we can't see each other again. And he was like, yo, like, was it something I said, something I did? She was like, yo, let me just be 100% honest with you. Anybody and whoever gets you is going to be blown away by you. She was like, but it's quite evident that you don't want children and I do.
It's my
And I
value.
don't want to waste your time.
Yeah.
And I definitely don't want you to waste mine. She was like, we can be friends. As a matter of fact, they was kind of like low-key friends already, but you know what I'm saying? But not like that. She's like, but yeah, we can't. Values. You know what some women would have done? And this is not to tear down women because men do it. I'm just talking about in the sense of decision
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
making,
yeah, 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 yeah.
right? Some women would have been like, he, good job. He take care of me. Good conversation. Think good. That. Run down the list. Don't worry about that. We can change that
Or,
once we get
or
married.
there it is. Or we'll change them.
But change
And
it.
that's
This is why I always say women go into relationships thinking they can change men, and men go into relationships thinking they ain't going to change. That
listen,
women ain't
brother.
going to
Let's
change.
let's be real about this, right?
Yeah.
The man, I don't know if I can. I got to remember I'm a pastor, right? All
Yeah.
that right down here
Yeah.
for women is change agent. that listen, that
Telling you,
box is
bro.
that box is a change agent
I'm
box,
telling you, bro. I'm telling you.
but it's not a happy box.
Mm,
You can get a brother to change his mind on something and resent you later on.
I'm telling you.
I'm trying.
I'm
All
telling
right.
you. It was never
I'm
it.
not asking you.
You, my man said it. When this is Maya Angelou, man. Y'all listen to them old folks. She said, when somebody shows you who they are or tells you who they are,
Believe
believe
him.
them. Just
Believe him.
believe them.
Yo,
But
I'm not
because he
under.
check all of your little boxes, but here's the funny thing: because you don't respect your own core values, that's how you get into this place. So when I go back up and I seen what Angela was talking about the other okay, yeah, where was it? She said it. What happens
Uh,
when you
somebody
don't
don't show up.
when one of you don't show up and refuse
Mhm.
to show up? That ain't something that just happening today.
Yo,
That ain't
I'm
something that's
trying.
just happening today. Yep. When you
Right.
value relationship, what happens if you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't I shut down. Oh, okay. Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Now that we know,
Thank you.
not,
Thank
not,
you.
yo, it's like now that we know that you shut down. Thanks for dinner.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Thank you for dinner. Matter of fact, I'll
Yo,
take care of it. It's
let me
on
see
me.
what's
It's
crazy.
on me.
We're getting a lot of people chatting here, but it's not coming up on our thing. I
Uh,
don't know why it's not coming up on here.
I don't know. It's saying
It's not coming up. I mean, it's coming up on the Facebook, but it ain't coming up
on YouTube.
on this on the nah on so we can show people what's what. I don't know what's going on here, but either way, I like
Yep.
that, man.
Yep.
We've got to be at a place in our lives that if it's not happening, then there's got to be change.
I'm telling you.
It's got to be change,
Telling you.
and I'm gonna go back again what Angela said. It's show up time.
Yeah.
If you haven't showed up in 10 years and you want your marriage to work, show up.
But here's the funny thing. I always tell people like marriage is this institution that you enter into that you never graduate from.
Okay, you're dying it.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, it's like luggage. It's like luggage.
this is lifelong and it's learning. And if you're not on a journey to through every stage of your life be the best version of yourself you possibly could be, then don't do me a favor. Don't
Don't
get
do it.
married.
I'm
Don't get
gonna get
married.
married.
Of all the things that you could do, don't get married because marriage will demand change from you.
Yeah, yeah, I
It will
like that. I
demand
like.
growth from you, which requires change.
See that there you go again. It requires
Growth
growth.
and growth
And
requires change. Yep.
yeah, well, thanks. I appreciate that. Right. That's why I don't like talking to you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, man.
I'm 5'4". I'm not gonna grow anymore, but I still got a heart to change. So down the road, you gotta change, man.
Yeah, it's
Gotta
crazy,
change.
man. You have to.
If God through the Holy Spirit demands a change, right? And the closest thing to heaven and a relationship with God is marriage, then there's gotta be some change
Be ye transformed by the renewing.
of your mind.
And I ain't like how y'all get it, Pete. Like I read the word and I just take it face value.
Okay.
But I know that that renewing is not a thing that you do one time. Like in the Hebrew, there's got to be like a consistent, ongoing. at 5, at 25, at 52, at, you know what I'm saying? Like, even when you get up into your 70s and 80s, if you have the wherewith, you still got to be renewing that mind.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I take that. I take that. Listen, man. Let's open up the floor. Let's see if anybody would like to come on tonight.
For real.
Talk a little bit about their own stuff without putting anybody out there. Talking about divorce, second marriages, first
Oh,
marriages,
and they did
what's
that.
going well in your relationship, what's not going well in your relationship. I mean, anybody, as long as it's, we're not here to
Yeah,
dog nobody, but we're here to grow. We're
yeah,
here to build.
yeah. No
And of
tearing down.
course, so if anybody just inbox me if you have anything that you'd like to share
Let-
or what have you, let's do that. I love
yeah.
so I see my man, a couple of people on. I want to give shout outs to, straight up shout out to Angela Bryant, and straight
Yo,
shout out right there. Sade, man, I really want her to come on, but then
that's
I
the
don't.
homie, man. That's the homie, man. Word up.
Mm.
The homie be
Yeah,
dropping.
yeah, she be dropping science all the time, all the time. Um, let me see here. Okay, all right, Sade, I just threw you a yeah.
That's the homie
Okay,
right there.
okay. Now see, marriage has. Oh wait, it's coming up now. What's
Oh,
going
it is.
on here?
The comments is coming up.
Okay, well, Angela makes this comment. She said, well, I'm divorced for a second time, and I'm determined to work on me first. She sounds like you, dog. I'm
Yep.
different to work on me first, and that way
Yep.
I can identify the next husband. Should God bless me
Absolutely.
to have? Wait, she said, should God bless her to have one? But I know it starts with me, and I love the fact that okay, well, you guys brought up core values. That is so essential and healthy in a relationship, regardless of what type it is. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you right now. Um, some people have said to me, if Wendy left you or Wendy passed, right? Would you get married again? I can speak for me right now. My answer is no. Okay, now here's the
You're not doing it
here's
again.
now, but here's
How old are we? How old are we? You talking about if it, God forbid, let me just preface it because I love
say
Wendy.
let's say she walked out on me, bro. Forget about death, right?
Oh, okay.
Forget about death, man. Because I'm just saying it.
If she stepped out,
No, stepped out like left me,
oh,
divorce. Would I get married again? My answer is no. As of today, my answer is no. Why? I got a real answer. I'm selfish, bro. I'm selfish. Yo, listen, I have not realized how selfish I am
but
until
that's P. You ain't no different than nobody else in that right. We all of let's keep it 100, bro. Can we just keep it 100 for a minute? All of us selfish, B.
all right,
Some degrees are just ridiculous. Let's just keep it
all right,
100.
all
But
right.
for some of us, like we selfish for real, for real.
All right, hold on. Let me bring
But
my
if you telling me that if Faith leave me like divorce and leave me like I'm not gonna marry, bruh, and I'm 51 and still virile, no sir, I can't. I'm a
Wendy's.
I'm gonna be a
Wendy,
problem in these streets, bruh.
you a
Like
problem.
I'm gonna
Listen,
be a
I'm gonna be.
problem out
Listen,
here. I'm gonna be
there's
a
gonna be a
problem.
pastoral problem, like you have an elder's
I ain't
problem.
no
You hear me?
pastor. I might have an eldest problem, but they might have to bring me before the church board, buddy. We might
Yo,
have a
listen.
problem. Yeah, I
Listen,
can't.
before we bring these two guests on, right? My joke, my thing is, I was talking to Wendy about this, right? In fact, we're talking about this for the kids. Wait, wait. And man,
Ooh.
Wendy said, "You plan on pastoring?
Yeah.
If we divorce, you plan on pastoring and not being married?" I was like, "Nah, I don't want to get married." She's like, "Oh, you're gonna lose your job. You're just gonna lose your job." Hold on, man. Let me just bring on Nicole. How you doing, girl?
I'm good, man. Good to see you
Good.
guys.
Do me a
Hi.
favor. Turn your camera this way. Turn your camera to the side.
That
Let me
way?
see if that straight. There we
There we
go.
go.
There we
There
go.
we
There we
go.
go. All right, hold on a second. Let me bring in Sade. I don't like her, but I'm gonna bring her
What
in
up,
anyway.
homie? That's
What?
the homie. Let me.
It's
You know what
gonna
I'm
be
saying? Shouts out to the homie.
it's gonna be some real conversations here now, boy. We done started some
Yeah,
foolishness. I was waiting for Tony
yeah.
to come on, but I don't see Tony on yet. Hold on a second. All right, here we go. Um, um, and you listen, plead the fifth because I don't want no problems with you with
Wale,
Tony. I mean,
Wale.
with Nicole. Nicole, plead the fifth. If I ask you something and you can't answer it, plead the fifth. You know what I'm saying? Just be like, look at me, girl. Lift your head up.
Wale,
Just be like,
Wale.
pleading
That
the
means you
fifth on
starting already. See, you starting
this.
already. All right,
Ah.
all right.
Well, first of all, do you know? I'm saying it right. It's Sade, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I just want to say it right. Sade, this is Nicole. Nicole, this is Sade. Do y'all see each other? Do you?
Hi.
Hi.
We, okay, good. That's all. We don't want y'all hanging together or nothing. All right, here we go. Here we
You
go.
know what?
Yeah.
Wow.
Gotta be PG.
Nicole,
I tell you.
somebody said Nicole would drink a fifth. Look at that. She said Nicole would drink a
Oh, all
fifth.
right, Jimmy. I got you, Jimmy. I got you.
Ah.
Yeah.
So listen, I know you were married before, Nicole.
Yeah.
What's your? I mean, and I know you're married now. What would you say was your biggest mistake? Yours, not his. What would you say was your biggest mistake in your last marriage? You can plead the fifth. You can plead the fifth.
Hmm.
Remember, we're talking about you.
I
We're
know.
not talking.
I know.
Okay.
That's why I said, hmm.
And remember,
Um,
we're trying to bring you into the ministry. So don't mess
you know
anything
what?
up. Here.
I can't with you, man. I can't with you. No, for real though.
Why is it the numbers go up when these women come on? Why is
Yeah.
it, man?
Yeah. I'm telling
Why
Listen,
you.
why is it?
Yeah.
it's a
I'm just
female
telling
thing,
you.
you know.
Okay.
It's
All
a
right.
vibe thing. Anyway, so for me, I would have to say that
That's the homie right
Okay.
there.
Okay. Oh, sorry. That's me. I'm sorry. That's me. I'm sorry.
shame
I'm
on you.
sorry. I'm sorry. Go
Shame
ahead,
on
Nicole. Go ahead. Go ahead, Nick.
you. I think what contributed to the um swift exodus was that there was a lack of trust.
Mm, mm.
That part.
You can't
Okay.
do nothing. You can't do nothing without that.
Right. And it wasn't necessarily that for me, it was me not trusting him. Um, and I want to say a pride issue because when I was told that, he was good at what he did, I was like, well, I'm better. I wasn't better. I wasn't even doing it.
Wow.
But,
Wow.
I had to make him hurt. I was hurting too. And that wasn't right. So you live and you learn. Growth with the growth mindset.
That's
You
the part.
understand?
Okay.
That's
But you
the
have
Okay.
part.
to both be willing to grow though, P. Like
Yeah.
you can't just be stagnant. I can't keep going, okay, I forgive you. Once it's a mistake, two, three times, it's a pattern. It's a habit. Whatever it is, be it infidelity, money issues, whatever the complication is between you and your spouse. If you're communicating effectively and we're still not making any progress and we're not um agreeing to disagree or finding a compromise or finding a middle ground where we both agree, we're going to continue to hit that wall eventually.
Okay. Um, I'm trying not to ask you
I know.
some other. I'm trying to. I'm trying not to ask you some other questions, but I'm gonna go as far as to say
I'll
this.
defend it if I have to.
Okay. Cool. Right now, you're still married. Am I correct? Did I make? Okay. Well, I can't see your face. Hold on. Okay. Forget that. Let's go to another question.
That is not public knowledge, so I
Yeah.
will
No, no,
not
no, no,
say
no, no,
anything.
no, 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 no,
That's
no,
good.
no, no,
I just
no,
I was
no,
like,
no,
I
no,
was
no.
no, but
That's fine.
he,
That's
he
fine.
took off.
That's
I
fine.
was like, okay,
That's
cool.
fine. So no, no, that's fair, and that's fair. I'm sorry, right? Because Some things I know, some things I don't know, some things we haven't caught up with. That
Right.
I would never put you out there like that. So
I
my
and
thing would be,
respect for that.
in your. Maybe I should have asked it this way. In your um not relationships, in your experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
How would you do things differently now?
Mm.
What would you tell somebody based on your experience to do this thing called marriage? How should they do it?
Ooh, how should they do it? Um,
Based on your experience, though.
First and foremost, there has to be complete transparency. Um, because we all come with something.
Okay, be careful because Sade is single. But go ahead, sis. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, we all come with something. And yes, we should have um standards, but they should be realistic. Sometimes
Mm.
I find that we as women are hopeless romantics. There are some men who are, but most of the time women are hopeless romantics, and we have expectations of men that are not realistic.
Oh,
And then we don't necessarily see everything that we desire. But again, like you guys were talking about earlier, we're like, oh, well, I can work with that, or I can do this, or I can do that. And, or we shut them down. Oh, no, he ain't doing this. I got to go. See you later. And
wow.
then you're 50, 55, 60 years old, still single. Like, God's going to bring you a man eventually. He probably already brought you your man and you shut him down. He puts people in your path to allow you to grow together. Sometimes I'm gonna tell you like this. I was told by a spouse that God had put us together to save us.
I could be, okay. Okay.
And you knowing me, P,
Yeah.
you exactly.
I got you. No, I hear you. I hear you.
Wow.
I'm gonna pause on that for a second. Sade, you just heard that, right? As a single young lady,
Mhm.
remember everything is unscripted. There's nothing has been given to you or anything of that nature. You just heard what she had to say. What's your thoughts on that? Single as a single person, and then give us your thoughts on anything.
I think too often, and I think we spoke about this before, we are
Keep going. Go
taught
ahead.
we're taught how to be in marriage, but not how to be single.
Facts.
I think we think single is just this is just what you do, but I think the question is how do I manage or how do I move as a single person who's desiring marriage? Because once I get married, it's too late to figure all that out. So I
Mm.
think yes, transparency, but I need to hear that before, and I need to practice that not only in opposite sex relationships, but how do I manage that with my friendships? How do I like how is that
Correct.
who I am? Because it can't be this is Sade as a wife, this is a Sade as a sister, or Sade as a daughter, or like how is that who I am as a person? How do we cultivate
Correct.
that? Is what's like when I heard, I was like, but how do we teach that in singleness? Like, how do we?
And
Mm.
It's a
tap
it's
me
a
in, tap
difficult
me
thing to
in.
learn, and I will
Hey,
tell you why. Because people want what they want without having to do the work.
ooh, that's
Mhm.
false.
Mm.
You know what I'm
Tony,
saying? Like, I mean,
turn your camera.
there
I'm
is
Turn
trying
your,
to I'm trying to get on
there.
my iPad because
oh,
it's not working every
okay.
time even if
Oh,
I turn it. Let me see. Okay, let me try to
okay.
turn it. Okay, go ahead,
While
Sarah.
Okay.
you're
Go
Cool.
ahead.
working
Go
that
ahead.
out, sis, I'm gonna let you know
You
it was
know.
a journey.
Mm.
It was a journey even for me.
Okay.
Being married before and being a divorced woman going back into singlehood was the strangest thing ever for me.
Wow. Wow.
Okay. When I went on a date, the guy said to me, and it was a group outing. It wasn't actually a date at the time. But he said to me, the reason he never approached me is because I didn't carry myself as a single woman. And I sat back for a second. I was like, well, what does a single woman carry herself like? Like, I come to church every Saturday just like every other woman in the church.
I, I think what most people don't understand about singleness is, and this is what we were talking about earlier on. the one of the things that are should be highlighted on your singles journey is becoming the best version of yourself you possibly can be.
Yeah.
Yes.
But she just made a
Emotionally.
comment. She just. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, go ahead, P. Go ahead.
She just made a comment, and the comment that she just made was that when she divorced and went back into the scene, it was the strangest thing. Did you feel the same way, Quest?
Huh? When I went back into the scene,
Yeah.
I don't. I went back into the scene, but it was funny. It was a couple of years before I actually was back on the scene per se,
Right.
right? And the reason why is because I was doing some internal work, right?
Okay.
I had learned to. The booty was saying yes, but bruh, you better say no because you're gonna send the wrong message. And then what happened if she get pregnant? What happened if you understand what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
there was
Yeah.
some behaviors. Like after divorce, you'd be like, yo, I'm not getting this on a regular basis no more. And I'm getting love in these streets. Like,
Real talk. Real
and
talk.
I had to get to this is the part about personal growth and becoming the best version of yourself you possibly can be. It's about learning discipline. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons.
Gotcha.
Mm.
Gotcha.
If we had learned to
Gotcha.
adopt
Gotcha.
discipline in our dating stages, how much better would our decision making be after on the backside of discipline? So I
I
had to
got you. I
learn
got you.
like how to yeah. But
But
some of
So
us
hey,
are
what
not
you
experiencing that and making a lifelong decision based on these
keep,
temporary. So yeah.
keep talking, Quest.
Correct.
Keep talking, Quest. So she don't say nothing. So Sade don't say nothing. Keep talking,
Well,
Quest.
hold on, Quest. That's so true. But it's Sade or Sade?
Sade.
Sade. Okay. Female to female. Let me explain something to you that you may already know, though. Okay. One, you have to look in the mirror and see self love. That's first and
Mhm.
foremost. Because if you're not
I,
loving
I
yourself
agree with that.
completely, he can't love you.
Mm, mm,
It doesn't
mm.
matter what he does. He will never fulfill the missing piece. And that missing piece is you loving yourself.
Right.
Right. And then, and that was a revelation for me too, because I was a people pleaser when I was younger. And that's how I felt love. Everybody was okay and everybody was happy. I was happy. Um, I'm much older now. That's not. I'm not worried about if people
That's
are
what
happy.
I'm saying.
Um,
Thing is, I'm 38 now. I'll be 40 in 2 years. Never been married, no children. So I've had, and that's the thing. Like the time to work on Sade has been invested, right? Like therapy, moving out of that aspect of I'll wait until I'm married to experience this. To if I want to try something, I'm going to do it. Like I'm not going to stifle myself waiting for something that may or may not happen. And I
mhm.
had a therapist who sat me down and she was like, you value marriage so much. Yeah, but what if you got to heaven and Jesus was at the gates and said, Sade, your heart turned hard towards me because you never received this. Like, what if
Mm.
that's that one thing that keeps you out of heaven because you long for that more than you long for him? And I was
Woo.
like, yeah, let's change that up. And so, but that's therapy. That's sitting and I'm sitting here like, why do we get married at 23? Like, why is there such a push to get married at 23? And
Because that's what we teach. We teach it's better to marry than to burn. And I'm gonna say this. And but what about the married and burning? Okay,
Wow.
because they get married because oh I gotta feel this need. I gotta
Okay.
feel this
See, there it
urge.
is. Like for
Go ahead, Quest.
there it is. That's it right there. No, I'm saying that's it. It would be we fool ourselves. We use God to run away from God.
hmm,
Yes,
Does
Wow.
that make sense?
yes,
We use
yes.
Yeah.
his word to so that it would support the foolishness that we think in so that we don't have to face God and deal with the stuff that we need to deal with. For me, the problem was, Negro, you hot in your pants. You need to cool off. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
need to operate
I,
in discipline. And so what happens is we'll say things like, well, it's better to marry than to burn. No, it's better for you to understand who you are as an individual, right? Because if you pick somebody right now in the state that you're in, you're going to pick somebody who's a reflection you are spiritually,
Hey.
right?
Woo.
And so the two of y'all broke in the same place, doing the same stuff, fooling yourself into thinking that we can have something that's solid enough, some substance,
Mm.
right? When the fact is we can't do it because we never dealt with the found. Our house got cracks in the wall, and you know what I'm saying, bowing in the floor because our foundation ain't right.
We
Right.
ain't even got a house.
Ah,
You don't even have a foundation.
you don't even have a house.
Don't even have a foundation.
You don't
Like
have a
it isn't
foundation.
that it ain't right. You don't have foundation because
Wow.
it's like the three pigs, man. Like really?
But
She
you
said
know
it's
what?
like,
Can I jump in there? I want to say I completely agree, but I think that's the point that we don't have a foundation. That's just real. We
Mhm.
talk about the fundamental things of Seventh-day Adventism or the things of what we're supposed to believe. Are we teaching our young people? I didn't know nothing about marriage. I had no clue. And the funny thing is I read Spirit of Prophecy. I read The Adventist Home. I read those things. I think I skipped some chapters clearly, but I read those things. But you don't have no. And I always wonder this for some of y'all who got married very young. I got married in my 30s, but some of y'all got married young. You know, when you got married, did you know this is the woman that God wants me to be with? Was that it wasn't even a question for me to go before God and say, hey, is this the man you want me to be with?
Girl, no.
Because I didn't know. I didn't know, I didn't even know that was a question to ask. It was like, listen, he go to church. He's Seventh-day Adventist. We have some of the same beliefs.
Mm-mm.
We didn't know to ask those questions. And so there is no foundation to be built upon other than what we've learned basically from either what we saw in our homes or what we
okay,
heard in the church.
okay, watch this, which builds our core values that is not strong enough. Our core values are built on foundations, not on, I'm sorry, not just on things that we saw, not just on things that we saw. So one of the things that I believe we have not done is built our core values. Like I give an example again. Sade, you are, I'm well. Two of you guys, at least that I know, are single. I learned this from Quest maybe about 6 years ago. That you take and maybe everybody should try this. Um, those who are single, take your name. Is that it? Is that a Quest? Do you remember that? You take your name, um, and write down the positive attributes or the things that you want in your own life, and it becomes your, and you can start there as it being your core value. I think that
It's like
if
you write
you,
it for your family.
yes, and then now that you're married,
No, I was saying you
you
write it for your family.
or you write it for your family. I was looking at single individuals doing that
Hmm.
first.
I mean, it worked. I just took my last name and was like, my last name is Green, so it was gratitude, reciprocity, empathy, right? So I ran it down. Time there was an issue in the home, we would go back to the wall where we had it written out. Is this in alignment with the family core values?
Mm.
Wow.
And what I think
Is
Wow.
we have
this
to understand
the way
about
you
core
treating him right now? Is that in alignment with what we said? Yeah.
Got you. Sade, go ahead.
one thing we have to
Go ahead,
understand about
Sade.
one thing we have to understand about core values is sometimes you don't know what your core value is until you're faced with something that questions your core value. Um, my mother just had surgery in July. There were a lot of
Yep.
things I did not know were my core values until I saw my mother on a ventilator. Because in that,
Mm.
I've never been faced with this is literally life or death. I've never been faced with that. So to look at that, I had to sit down and say, wait, what is my faith? Like, yeah, I know God can, I know He will, but what is my prayer life? What is my going to Him looking like? What is how do I feel about having to make life decisions for someone that isn't myself? How would I feel if this was me on the table? Like those things I can tell you imaginary what I think it is, but it sometimes you don't know what those things are until you're faced with them. And I tell people all the time, I grew up at Oakwood. I was 18 out of my mother's house, but it wasn't until I had to no one can say, I'm going to protect you from this. It was Sade out in those Huntsville streets making decisions and saying, oh no, this is, my mother would scream if she saw me doing this, but this is something that I enjoy. That is my core value. And so to give people the grace, and that's why when I see,
Yeah.
those theology majors all booed up, I'm like,
Yeah.
what's happening? Like, we're 21 and y'all are saying this is it. Who are you?
Mm-hmm. That's good. I like when you said, when you talked about the core values, not being at a stage or age of your life where, your brain ain't even fully developed, but
Wow.
you're trying to yoke up with somebody. And this is, a contract between you and God, and you don't even understand what you're doing. And that's why I think it's just so important that we understand how to help build that foundation. And the sad thing about it is, in the church right now, I am newly divorced, 2 weeks. I was separated for 4 years. So it didn't really hit me that hard at the court. I was like, okay, let's just get the paperwork over with, basically. But growing up in my home, I was telling Paul this, my dad was not Adventist. My mom was. My mom held, I ain't never seen no woman hold on that tight to Jesus with somebody who did not agree with her. She held on, and she made us hold on to Jesus, because all three of my sisters, we all have a good relationship with God. But watching their marriage, that was where I got my core values from. That's what I learned. And so that's what I understood it to be. My mother waited on my dad hand and foot till the day he died. My mother brought him 3 meals a day to the day he had to move into a facility. He took care of him. And so that's what I watched. And I said this before, I never saw a man treat a woman a certain way. I mean, he was good to her at the end, but during the tough years, it was rough for her. And so I didn't see. And here's the thing. This is so important. Even now, we've been separated for 4 years. My daughters don't have a male figure in their lives. I got 3 girls in my house. They see me do everything. I mean, I'm cooking, cleaning, washing, working. They don't see a man. And so that I pray about that. I'm like, okay, God, what are we going to do about that? And their understanding of what a man is supposed to be is so limited. I can only share so much, that I know, but we watch what we see. We learn what we see. And then you bring it into the church. That depends on how you were raised in the church, where you're in the church, all those things tied together. And Paul said, I have a question for you. And maybe Quest as well, but when you were a theology major and you met your wife, when you met your first wife, do you think that you understood what you were doing at that time? And how has that impacted your life?
Well, let me ask you this first, Quest. How old were you when you got married your first time? Quest moving slow over there,
First
boy.
time I got married, I was what? 2005. It's 2005. 2003. First time I got married. So I must have been in my 30s at the time.
You could not have been in your 30s at the time. You're much younger than me.
30s. Let me see, 73.
You couldn't have.
Yeah, no. Let me see, 73.
All I can say is black.
I was just about 30, 29, 30. I was just about 30.
Okay. All right. I get
30.
I just turned 51. I just turned 51 last. Yeah.
Okay, so Quest, let me just say this. You was 28, 29.
Tuesday. So yeah, probably around there.
It
was about
all right. Let me share this with you.
No,
so let me
it was
answer
about
this.
29. 30.
Yeah, because 2003. Looks, I know my age at 2003. I'm a 70s baby, so I know my age.
Yeah, I was born in
my age
73. I was born in 73.
There we go.
So yeah.
Great. Okay, so let me just be clear about this. I love what you said, Sade, concerning these theology majors all booed up and whatever. I was never booed up as a theology major. So I was struggling as a theology major. I wasn't booed up. Okay. And when I mean I was struggling, I have no problem saying this, I was not even just dating around. I'm gonna go as far as to say this. At Oakwood, I was hurt by two women in my life that was specific in my life, and after that, I was not gonna get hurt again. I
Mhm.
did, but but I built up a core value in myself that I'm not gonna go that deep with anybody to get hurt again.
Yeah.
But I got married at 31, but I started pastoring at 23.
Oh.
So I spent 8 years in the field, in the real field, which was ridiculous. See, the hard thing about theology majors is that we are taught to get married so that when we got into the field, we didn't have to worry about certain things, which is malarkey. Yeah, yeah, I would like to say some other words, but it's BS. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Mm.
But I will say this: that when I did get married, I married someone
Raganackle
who
bull.
was that's it, who was not a piano player, who was not a teacher,
Yeah.
who was not light skinned. I'm talking about my time. That was the era of my
All the light
time.
skinned people.
Mhm.
Who was not a teacher. So my wife, my girlfriend, my wife, she was somebody I hung out with. Oh, you understand where I'm coming from? So I think that in getting married to this individual, I knew what I was getting into,
Before
but
you
I
got
did not go into it with the core values that I needed. I'm telling you, I did not get into it with the core values that I needed. When I think of the people that were at my wedding, it was people that I wanted to show that I can do this. If I could do this again, I'll go to freaking Vegas. I'll
Yeah.
go to Disney World. Do
Yeah.
that joint under a mistletoe. You understand where I'm coming from?
Mhm.
So I will say this, that I think that I had a lot to learn at 31 still. And then I want you to think about this. My twin brother was married at 25.
Mm.
My older brother was married at 20 at 30, I think, whatever. But I was the only one among my family that wasn't married. And so, oh, I see you got a boyfriend.
There
So
he
my
is.
so my thing is that no, I don't think that I knew everything about marriage or even the least bit about marriage. But you know what the joy was for me? The joy in getting married to this person was I just want to let's ride or die this thing out. You
Mm.
understand where I'm coming from? I cannot tell you the amount of crap that me and Wendy has gone through and still going through. And she will always say this to me, right? Sometimes she will always say, I ain't going nowhere. I'm like, ah, man, luggage. You know what I mean? Yeah, I ain't going nowhere. She'll just say that, I'm not going nowhere. And so I don't know how I can really answer that, but I do believe that I was ready. You have to ask her something different, right? I believe that I was ready based on the way that I feel right now, right?
So,
But, yeah.
P, I wanted to ask you, when you transitioning through that stuff, right? What do you have as visual reminders for what you do?
You have to ask me that more.
Okay, because remember what you said before. Okay, let me show it to you because it's better for me to show it. Well, first of all, core values, right? I went ahead and looked up the definition. Are the fundamental beliefs that guide a person or organization's actions and interactions with others. They can be considered the principal perspectives that help define who someone or something is and how they operate. Let me say
Okay.
it one more time. Core values are the fundamental beliefs that guide a person or organization's actions and interactions with others. They can be considered the principal perspectives that help define who someone or something is and how they operate. David, I know, is somebody who values worship in the morning. I can't call David's house at 8:30 or 9 o'clock because he's already in bed. And that ain't
That
something that he'd been doing yesterday. He'd been doing that forever.
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So I know that about him. Sometimes we develop amnesia, right? But I always keep it like you, anything like me, like I'm already in three other plans before I finish the one that I'm already in. It's just because the way that God made me in terms of my brain, right?
Mhm.
So I wanted to show you this real quick. We have this in the house. All right, it's time to really update it. But I have a reminder. Where is it?
And then when you're done, I got a question for Sade. So I don't even think I answered your question, Tony. But
Can you see that?
yes, yes.
All right. So what you see there, like this is a whole bunch of stuff I work on when we do presentations, but what you see there is my last name, which is Green. Those are the family core values. What I was saying before in terms of what are the reminders that we keep up, like you see gratitude there. Let all the love, communication, and service to one another be as a result of what God has done through and for us. So don't front on nobody else in the house when you know what God has already done for you. It's only right that you show that through gratitude, reciprocity, expectations, not putting unfair expectations, empathy, and needs. So this is our last name, right? This is what we do. Anytime, right? Anytime that we are about to operate or the kids operate and they ill treat someone else in the family, the two boys, they at it all the time. I always take them back in front of the canvas.
And
Were
give
you
them the core
operating
value.
in gratitude? Were you operating in reciprocity? Is that what we're teaching you here? Like, if you are part of this family and you're a part of this house, okay, that's the principle for family. What do you and I as a couple
See,
have?
that's the issue. That's what Tony's talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that this is the, and then this is the fear that, so I was going to ask her about it, so I'm going to come back to her. I get that, right? You got something to go back to. When I was even 31, nobody told me that crap. I'm talking about 31, and 31 is old when where I come from. Oh, you understand where I'm coming? You understand where I'm coming from?
Yep.
Um, 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 you know, when you talk about, oh, my ovaries are drying up and
Mhm.
Yeah.
so whatever. Yo, you hear women saying that my biological clock is ticking, and I'm thinking to and they said, because you're a man. Listen, y'all, because you're a man, you gonna be all right. And I'm thinking to myself, nah,
Right.
I don't want to lift up my kids with a back problem.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? I don't. I want to run and catch up to my kids. So I'm just saying that I didn't know at 31 what
Mm.
it was like to be a good husband, except for the fact that I had to watch my dad and say, I ain't doing that crap. Or
Mhm.
watch my dad and say, I'm doing that. Or watch my mom and say, I will not accept that. Or watch my
Here,
mom and say, I will accept that. So
here,
now
here-
what happens to a family? What happens to a woman, or what happens to a man who has no family
No
core?
frame of
No,
reference.
no,
but
no, right, no
but
reference.
No
but
reference.
here's the thing about that now, right? D, even for those of us, because coming up in our time, we didn't have access to information the way that this generation
Mhm.
or people do have access to information. And even when we didn't, we had the Cosby Show, and we could have easily been like, whether you
Okay,
believed it or you didn't believe it, where did they get that from? They
okay,
had to get that from somewhere.
I'm gonna go around the clock with a question for Sade. And before do this question, I'm gonna say this, right? I saw a post this morning, and it said, all of us who blames our trauma on our parents, remember that they had less.
I saw that.
Okay, I don't know the
They
wording
had
for it,
less
Tony.
tools and less
They
resources
had
than we
less
had.
tools.
Yeah.
So now it was only this morning I said, I ain't blaming, I'm not gonna put no blame on my dad like that,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
put no blame on my mom like that. We got the tools and we don't use it. And here it is, especially we got the tools and we won't use it in the place that needs it the most, and that's the church.
Mm.
Can
We
can I
won't use it at all. Sade, I got a question for you real quick.
Yes.
What's your biggest fear in getting married? And then Tony, I want to ask you, what is your biggest fear in getting married again? All right. Come on, Sade, go ahead.
I think my greatest fear is getting married and then getting divorced. Only because I've waited so long, or it hasn't happened yet. Being 38, I'm the oldest of three girls. Both my sisters are married, have been married for 8 years now. They have children. I'm the eldest single rich auntie. And it's like, but if I get married and it doesn't work, what does that mean I did for those years where I was single? Like what did I miss? What wasn't I paying attention to? And I think a lot of times, even like going back to the parents thing, my mother raised three girls by herself. My parents got divorced when I was 6. And I tell people the best thing that happened to me was seeing my mother as a single woman, and then she got married. And I saw the shift between single and wife. I'll tell this quick story. My mother was single from the time I was 6 to I was 20, raised us by herself. The first week of her being married, she made a huge dinner. And my mother was a VP of a bank, did all the things. And she came and she was like, dinner's ready. Me and my sister sat down. We're ready for dinner. We were like, where you at? She said, I'm waiting on my husband. Wait, what? I've never seen.
Wow.
So I saw
Wow.
how I have to, if I'm going to be single, how that shift has to happen. And then it's like, but do I enjoy being single too much? Do I like the fact that I don't have to, if I don't want to do something, guess what? It don't have to be done. The only thing I have to be concerned about is Sade Nicole. And the thought that I have to be selfless, I have to be when I don't want to be. I'm selfless when it suits me at times.
I love this.
So the idea that you make me mad and I still have to say, let me make you dinner. I'm sorry, who? Who what? Like, that's the scary part of marriage is I've been single for so long. Is that something that I want to relinquish at times? Like,
I pray to God that your husband is going to be a cowboy. That's what I pray.
But Pete, you know what's so crazy about this? What this discussion is really revealing to me right now is that God is requiring you to be selfless long before the marriage requires you to be selfless anyway. You understand what I'm telling you? Because, like, for real, if I ask you if your Christian journey is a car, right? I'll ask who's driving, and people are like, all right, Quest, I know where you're going with this, but do you though? You know what I'm saying? Like, most people be like, well, Jesus is the driver, right? Right? Or Jesus take the wheel, right? But even if that are we passengers, and if you are a passenger, then are you a backseat driver? Because certain days Christ will be like, okay, today we driving down the road of generosity. Oh, hell. I don't feel like driving. Jesus, I really don't feel like, or today we going to drive down the road of keep your mouth quiet loop.
You see,
do you hear what they just said to me? And I don't feel like driving down that road today. We ain't driving down that road today.
There have been times where I have heard the Holy Spirit say, Sade, be still. And I'm literally sitting there like, sir, you can't see what's going on in my life if you asking me to be still. Because I can make moves right now that'll make a lot of stuff. And he's like, no, just be still. And I'm like, sir, we can't.
Sir.
Same thing. And that's okay. I think and while y'all were talking, the thing that the Holy Spirit, and I'm not one of those, but I heard God say, I had to get our relationship right first before I put you in marriage.
See,
our relationship wasn't right.
Okay.
Family trauma, childhood trauma, because there have been moments where I'm like, God, why did you allow this to happen? Why did you do this? Why did you let this happen? And if I went into marriage with that same mindset of God, how would that play out with my husband? Like, again, sir.
Somebody made a comment just now, right? I don't want to spend my life feeding a man's ego. Somebody made that comment, right? It's not on here, but it's on one of the other pages. And for those who are watching, it is important to know that we're on 8 different platforms right now. On one of the other platforms, said I don't want to spend my life feeding a man's ego. Let me share this with you. Um, I don't think a man wants a woman to feed his ego. I do want you to recognize that. Don't get mixed up between feeding a man's ego and affirming him.
Mhm.
Mhm.
There's two different things, right? To affirm a man is to see beyond what he sees. To affirm a man is to say, I saw what you did and thank you for that. To affirm a man is to have him realize that on his job he may be sweeping the streets, but when he gets home he's king. He's he's king. When he gets home he's king. Okay, and I think that to feed a man's ego is very different. Is feeding a man's ego is him saying, "Watch my wife get my food for me. Where's my so and so?" I'm a Archie Bunker fan, and I am. I've been watching Archie Bunker for the past 3 months, right? Um, and what I realized is that he's an egotist, he's a bigot, he's so and so, whatever. He's not like that in real life because I really wanted to. He acts very well. But if you notice, and I told my brother this the other day, if you notice in all the Archie Bunker episodes, he never wins.
Never.
He never wins. Okay, Norman Lear made it clear that as he directed that thing, he never wins. Just like in the Jeffersons, when what's his name Jefferson was being a bigot to white people or this, that, and the other, or gay or whatever, he never wins. And a husband never wins when a woman feeds his ego. Okay, and that's why it's also important. And back in the day when Nicole was my member, you know, a lot of us would talk about this. You remember, like the church would meet and the women would talk and so, whatever. I think that for a woman to have sex with a man based on ego, I'm just going to feed his ego, is detrimental to this man. I think a woman needs to affirm him in the bedroom. She needs to affirm him when he gets dressed. She needs to affirm him when he leaves the house, as he loves her during this time. Or you understand where I'm coming from? And I think that we don't teach that enough in church. We don't teach. You don't hear a pastor get up there and say, boy, my wife is fine. Or one time, I don't know if you remember this, Nicole. Do you remember one time I was in church and I was like, yo, I'm so sorry, y'all, I'm late, but we do these things on the Sabbath. I made a question like that. I came to church late, right? I remember,
Yes, sir.
and I remember my church was like, amen, 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 And for me, Wendy said she was a little bit embarrassed, right?
I want the angels to rejoice.
Come on, son, come on. But then I got to share this with you, and I said it to the church way later, way later. I'm talking about way later, like years later. I had a physical altercation with Wendy one time. And I'm a physical. Now, I'm not talking about fighting and so beat, whatever, but I put my hands on her. And when I mean I put my hands on her, I pushed her, right? And we're talking about core values here, Sadi. I want you to hear this also. I want y'all to hear this. We're talking about core values, how you build your core values. And I've seen that. Am I with me? I've seen that.
Yeah.
Okay. But what happened is that I remember her going like this, something like that, like, okay. But my wife is Mr. She's strong like that. So I'm not going to go one up and fight with her. I'm not. Man, it must have been maybe weeks later. Oh man, weeks later, I was rubbing her back in bed. And my hand went across like this little thing, like on her back. And I said, what's this on your back? You hear me?
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. Wow.
Yo, I don't even know why I talk. Yeah. And she said, that's when you pushed me up. You pushed me, and there was a nail back there.
Oof.
Mm.
And yo, let me tell you something.
Wow.
Everything.
Let me tell you something. It must have been, I remember the year we moved here, 16. It must have been 8. It must have been 10 years since then, right? Never put my hand on her. Not won't even argue. Yo, listen, call me a Uzi, right?
Yeah.
I'm not fighting. I'm not arguing. I'm not even fighting.
For what?
Because if I left a scar and I didn't know I left a scar, how much more is it that I'm leaving a scar when I open my mouth and
Wow.
say something?
Wow.
Do you understand
Let
where I'm
me
coming from?
look.
Wow.
Can I say this, P? And I
Wow.
saw it a while ago, and I want to show it because I used it when we were doing the conferences at what's the name the other day. Some of us are just interested when it comes to relationships. Some of us are already married and just interested. You haven't moved to the point of conviction yet.
Hmm.
Mm.
Dag, I'm yo. My daughter just said, "Hey, Dad." I did. Okay. Yeah. Well.
Right?
It's gonna be a
This,
discussion later on.
Yeah. It'll be a discussion later on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
this is what I wanted to show you. This right here. There's levels in relationship. When you first get together, you're interested, you curious, you curious, you got some concerns, you ask some questions, whatever the case may be. And then some of us are committed, like we in it. The feeling is, you'll hear me say all the time, marriage requires love requires commitment, and commitment requires abandoning all exit strategies. Mean that
Wow.
when you hear her say we ain't going nowhere, we ain't going
Wow.
nowhere. But even in committed,
Abandoning.
you're committed so long as nothing don't mess up your commitment, right? You know what I'm saying? That this person don't do nothing that changes your mind. But when you are convicted, I have a firm and serious held belief about relationships that can't be shaken. This is why the core values are important, because they help you get to the place of conviction. Now, I don't even say, I said for beginners, yeah, marriage requires love requires commitment. But when you get to the place of conviction, marriage requires love and love requires covenant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Covenant
Mm-hmm.
means that I don't care what this paper say or nobody say, that I don't need it to tell me that I'm your husband and I got to do for you. I don't need it to you understand what I'm saying? And I think that's what happens with a lot of us. We're interested, or we're stuck in the place of commitment, and you have not gotten to the place of
Place of
conviction.
good
Because when you're
conviction.
convicted, that little comment that don't mean nothing to you. Like, you still gonna do what you're supposed to do. You still gonna make sure that her breakfast is made in the morning or her coffee is made before she go to work. Even though you mad as hell at her, you still gonna hold her hand and say, Father, protect and keep her as she leaves from out of my covering today. You still going to do. Conviction is where it's at. That's the reason why when we have these little arguments and stuff, and we entertaining or playing with the thought of divorce, is because you're not convicted, and you can't be convicted because you're not developed.
Can
I got
I gotta jump in there. I gotta jump in on
okay.
that.
And Nicole, I want to know, is your mic working, Nicole?
Oh,
Oh snap! You may be muted.
Who is?
Okay. And
I I
okay. Or just nod and wave and smile. That's all you can do for the rest of it. We don't got 15 minutes left. Go ahead, Tony.
yeah.
Go ahead,
No,
Tony.
I gotta jump in there. Interesting what you just said, Quest, about conviction and commitment. And Paul, what you said is Wendy said, I'm not going nowhere. I was separated for 4 years. I held on for 4 years. He never came to get me. And I'm just gonna say that. And I
yeah,
said to Leah, I remember telling Leah, I said, I don't ever want to be with somebody that can be without me for 4 years.
that's
But
it.
I held on. I held on, hoping that something would change, thinking something would change, but also, well, I'm not gonna get too deep into it. But as far as being, because I'm loyal to a fault. I'm
Wow.
very loyal. I will hold on. There was nothing going on, and I'm still holding on, not with a hope or a belief or anything like that, just because I'm loyal. This is what you do. You hold on. And it got to the point where even God was saying, listen, I don't know what you're holding on for.
Yep.
It's okay to let go. I think it's really important to, when you talk about being in such a committed situation. And it's interesting too, because Paul, you asked the question about, would I ever get married again? And this is I'm gonna need the theologian to come out on this one, because can I just be real? I would love to have a boyfriend. We can travel, we can spend time together, we can hang out, we can do what we do, and you head on home. That's just head on. I see you later. I see you on
it's,
the weekend.
it's itching
That's
right
where
here.
I am. That I know, huh?
I say it's itching right
Yeah,
here.
that's I'm not trying, and I've been talking to the Lord about that. I'm like, listen,
Yeah.
I've been looking up things like, is this going to be okay? Because It's not that I don't want to. I don't want to be married right now. Clearly, I'm not ready to be married. I would like to date for a while. Even in my dating life, I didn't date a whole lot. You know, people had this idea, Tony date ballers and drug dealers, which was sort of true, but back in the day. But I was loyal to, you know, one person, so at a time. So I have a difficult time with the idea of, you know, as Sade said, is it Sade? And she said, you know, listen, it's nice being single. It's a nice experience because we were together for 16 years, 20 years before we got married, before we got divorced.
Come on.
Listen, the peace, and again, my relationship was very, very difficult. So I haven't experienced that relationship where it's wonderful or somebody can't live without you, don't want to live without you. But I'm not there. I have to be honest. And I think the Lord is protecting me from all angles because I'm
So,
like, Lord, if I find the right one, we
mhm.
hanging out. Flat out. We
Let me
hanging
say
out.
Okay.
this. I think the increase in divorce rates has created a culture where that's what a lot of people want on both sides. As a woman who's never been married, I have met plenty of divorced men who are like, hey, I will give you the world, but I will not give you a ring or my last name. Wait a minute.
Wow.
And it's in the church. I'm not saying outside the church. It's in the church where I will give you. You want to travel. You want to go play. You want to shop. You want the life. I will give you the life. But my last name and my peace of mind and my sanity are not on the line when it comes to marriage again. And
Are
it's
these
the
divorced men? Are some of
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And
Oh
it's
wow. Well, go ahead.
it's hard because it's like, who, Jesus, what am I supposed to
What
do?
am I supposed? And that's a real question for us single people. What am I supposed to? I know what I'm supposed to do. I know what the words. I know. I get it. But there is still some, you know. Okay, help me understand better. I'm not in the conviction stage on this. Now,
Wow.
I
Wow. She said, I'm not in the conviction stage on this. Let me tell you something. If you want a theological statement about this,
Oh,
and you know
mercy.
what? And I'm gonna say this right
My
because my
mic is
dad.
on now, boy.
Oh shoot! Don't say nothing theology because you ain't finished school yet. So stay with me. Stay with me. Um, I had a conversation with a friend today, and I'm coming right back to you because it's almost 11. We got 10 minutes. We can't go past 11. All right, here we go. Um, I'm gonna put this on. I'm gonna put this on Tony, and I'm gonna put this on Unico.
Put it on
If,
them.
yeah, man. If your husband came to you, right? If your husband came to you and said to you, "Listen, we're cool, we're good," um, I'm only going by based on Tony what you just said, right?
okay.
My next go round, I don't know what the whole theology is on this, and you do.
Yeah,
Um,
I do.
but I'm just being selfish right now, and I've been through
Right.
something for 16, 17, 20 something years, and I'm looking out for me right now.
Right.
What if your husband said to you, and Nicole, what if your husband said to you, "Yo, you know what? Just while we work this out, do you?
Mercy.
Okay, while we work this out, do you?"
Ha, ha, ha.
Full
Big things are
transparency. He
going
should never say that to me.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm trying to.
Okay.
I'm trying to. Wait. What did you say, Nicole? What did you say,
Press
Nicole?
caught it. Press caught it. I said mercy. I said full
Yes, Lord.
transparency. He should never say that to me. However, thank God. Thank God for changes. Okay. Now, I was.
She said you should never say
Whoa.
that to me because thank God for changes.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
All
And
right.
and then I'm going to answer the both of you theologically, and we're going
Yeah.
to try to wrap this up. We're going to try to wrap this up because now another 20 people just jumped. Okay, I'm
Okay.
sorry. Go ahead.
So
Go
I'm gonna
ahead.
be. I'm. It's. He knows. I know why he asked me this because I'm gonna be transparent to you
Okay.
specifically at this point. All right. I too was separated from my husband. All right. begged him for like a good 2 years to move from where he was to where we were so we could be a family. We were doing counseling and he just stopped counseling. Um, and then the counselors, um, who never actually advised, said, if this is, I'm gonna be honest with you, there isn't any investment,
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
right?
Okay. Okay.
That's
And
good.
so, if he's not willing to put in the work here, he's not going to put in the work in the marriage. And then when I uprooted, um, then I began to see a transition. And then I began to see, oh, I want my family. I desire my family. I love you. I want to be your best friend. I want this. I want that. Um, and I actually reached out to P and was like, yo, and I told him straight up, because we have that type of friendship. And I was like, I'm stuck right now because I've made this transition to solidify self, right?
Right. Right.
But now we're tugging on heartstrings.
There we
When I
go.
gave you the opportunity to be back as the head of household and to be the man of the house, it wasn't until I said, okay, here are the divorce papers, because I'm done begging and I'm done praying.
Right.
And
Right.
when I began to pray,
Right.
seemed like everything that I asked God to reveal to me, it everything just crumbling, no
Yeah.
foundation.
Okay. And let me say this to you, Nicole. I want to first of all thank you for being respectful to him on what you just said. You understand where I'm coming from? Because you could have said anything. You know what I'm saying? And I think you were tactful just now, right? I think that you brought a level of spirituality in this when you said, "Yo, I was tired of praying," right? I think that you brought in a level of ownership when you make the comment, "Hey, I I was waiting for him. I was doing so and so, whatever." But some women would say, "I needed to stay there." Or you understand where I'm coming from? So there is a level of ownership there. But what I do want to say is that I wonder if we are borderline on the level of selfishness or self-preservation.
Mm.
When I hear Sade talk about certain things and okay, yeah, I'm not married yet or so and so, whatever, I really think that the greatest commodity is you right now, Sade, where you're saying, I lived long enough to see the crap. I lived long enough to see the so and so. I've seen my sister, so and so, whatever. Um, the guy that marries you, Sade, has to recognize that you have come with not an empty book,
Right.
but you
He has knowledge.
but you have come with some um um I'm sorry, you have come with seeing certain things that a 20-year-old don't understand.
Mm.
Yes.
Okay, that a 31-year-old don't understand. You're 30, 38. First of all, I understand. I'm talking to Quest. Anybody else want to listen, they can. Quest, I understand that the older a woman get is the more exciting and freaky and crazy and
It's so.
just
Glory
Praise
to the
the
nuts that
Lamb.
they
Lord.
are.
Glory to the
I
Lamb.
I I say this.
Hallelujah.
I'd have
Lift
rather
them
got
holy
married when she
legs.
was in her 40s.
I'm a firm
That's when they
believer
go
in
nuts in
lifting
their
up
40s.
holy legs.
I don't know.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
I don't.
Lift up holy
You
legs.
know,
That's
It's
right.
not
20
the one left, Pat. It's not the one left.
is that the one
Not the
left?
one
Yes,
left,
yes.
P. It's
That
not the
was the
one
one
left.
left. So I'm simply saying this, that when you talk about selfish, I asked the question, Sade. I asked the question, Nicole. I asked the question, Tony. Is it being selfish or is it being self-preservation without the conviction?
Mm.
Because self-preservation, y'all probably need to write this down. Self-preservation without the conviction is self-preservation without the spirit.
Mm.
Mm.
Mhm.
And when you have self-preservation without the spirit, it becomes all about Tony. It becomes
Yeah.
all about Paul. It becomes all
Mhm.
about Sade. It becomes all about Quest. It becomes all about Nicole. And let me tell you what that looks like. It looks like folks saying, let's have an open relationship.
Mm.
It's saying, I'm tired. when there's more left in this thing.
Yeah, that's
You understand
very.
where I'm coming from? It's I'm saying when there's more left in it. It's me saying I'll never get married again. If anything happened to Wendy, I'm never get married again. Why? Because I'm too selfish. I want it when I want
I
it.
won't say
I,
that.
say it again.
I won't say that, but I will say this, and hear me when I say this, ladies, and Paul, because I don't think you knew this. My first time getting married, I was 18, literally on my 18th
Oh,
birthday. Yeah, right. No
Wow.
clue,
oh,
none of what I was doing, but I was taught that it was better to marry than to burn, and I wanted to be with him, and he said he loved me, and so I married him. He also was an abuser,
see what I'm
physical.
saying? You see what I'm saying?
You see, and he was not Adventist. He did join the Adventist church eventually. Then I divorced him and married the one that Paul knows. So this ain't my
Yeah,
first time around the rodeo.
Yeah,
You understand?
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
why I want Sade to have a cowboy.
eh, and so, he'll lasso you and tie you up, girl. You go nowhere.
That
Um, but one thing I will say that I have learned, aside from there are times, one thing that has helped me thus far is I have seen God change me.
Mhm.
I
Mm.
wasn't worried. I no longer was concerned about God. I need you to change him. God, I need you to do this. You gotta change me.
Mm-hmm.
So then it wasn't like when you were saying how God told you stand still or be still.
Mhm.
In the moment that I responded in a manner that wasn't pleasing to God, I began to cry because I realized I wasn't pleasing God. It had nothing
Right,
to do with me arguing with him.
Right.
right.
It was my relationship with God. And that was what was important to me.
And
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 so
Wow.
when
that
I shut down, it's not I'm shutting down because, yeah, all right. It's because I know me, and it's better that I shut my mouth like I'm being told to do.
yeah.
You understand? And
Yeah.
then when I have time to process through that thing,
Mm-hmm.
write those things out, pray over it, then I come back and say, okay, now let's talk about that real quick, please. Do you
See
mind?
what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pete, this is the reason why I'm saying foundationally, this is where it always starts. Are you the best version of yourself that you
You know
possibly
what I'm
can
saying?
be emotionally, spiritually, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever other area of life? Because it takes a person of development to be able to say, you know what, let me take a moment. God, this
Yeah.
is what I'm going through. This is what I'm experiencing. Most people pop off. It's an argument.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I told you a homeboy told me who's the neurologist. He said it starts back here, then it moves to your limbic system, any situation, and then from your limbic system it moves to your frontal lobe. So you legit feel the situation, and this is where your emotions sit, in your limbic system. So you feel the situation before you get an opportunity to make a decision about it. Undeveloped people, or people who are not in the fullness of singleness, when a negative situation happens, they feel the burn. Off to left field we go. The
Right.
person who is developed, who've experienced some things, or first and foremost, let me just say, if you are black and you in America, you need a therapist. Full
Period.
stop.
Period.
Period.
Full
Two.
stop.
Two.
You
Okay.
know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, for real.
Somebody full stop. Period. I
You
heard
know
a
what I'm saying?
Southerner. I heard a West Indian. I heard
American.
So
That's right.
imagine a person that's
American.
not developed,
Yeah.
who is in relationship and doesn't understand that I need time to process this, to think about this, so that I'm not making decisions out of my emotions, but objective ones that'll really help this.
Yeah.
or
Hmm.
or even get myself to the place where we can have a conversation
Mm-hmm.
with a goal in mind. Like the average person, nah, nigga, that, and before you know it, divorce, broke up, house
Right.
broken,
Right.
children feeling
Right.
the brunt
And
of it, so on and
I've
so
been there,
forth.
done that.
Yep,
I mean, quest like he literally he said, you know how easy it is to walk away from all of this? And
yep,
in that moment, my instant react, what?
yep.
Don't worry about it. And I picked up the kids and I walked out the door.
Okay, take care.
And
Pretty
that's
much.
me. The old me would have been like, well,
Yeah.
nigga, keep it walking then.
You know what
But
I'm
the
saying?
developed me
That is
knows
the
that
old
not
me.
only do I have a responsibility to this person that's talking crazy, I got a responsibility to God. And my response would have been like, yep, you know what? It is easy, but just stop for a moment and think about the repercussions that your children, you and I would feel in terms of trauma and everything else that comes along with this. My purpose is not to argue with you, but for the two of us to come to a common goal.
You
I
know,
got you.
I wanna say something. You know, and all jokes aside, I'm always be obedient to God. I know
Yep.
what my situation has brought me to. There's nowhere in the world I'm gonna go back. You
Yep.
know, I'm gonna always be obedient to God. My house is completely ran by faith. So, I tell my kids, don't bring no mess in here because y'all gonna mess up my blessings. I can't do that. Watch the music that you listen to because I might not get that blessing this week.
I'm
And I'm
trying to
serious.
tell you.
You know, I live off of that. So I'm gonna always be obedient to God. I know what God's word says, and I'm gonna always stand on it. Like I said, I just love the fact that I can be real with God. I love the fact that I can say, look, this is what I'm going through, God. I'm struggling tonight. I'm gonna need your spirit. You go to some distractions. Send the kids in here, do what you gotta do. I need some wisdom tonight.
To your point,
Understood.
I think one thing
You
that
did the request. Understood. Go ahead, sis.
Understood.
Go ahead.
one thing that I can say that we and I think this is something that we neglect to talk about is how the enemy uses the reality of
Oh,
the
come on.
world to distract us.
Yeah.
When I look at it, the numbers aren't in my favor. So the open relationship seems better than
Yeah.
me sitting here twiddling my thumbs because the
Mhm.
enemy has convinced me you're 38, no children, you're single. How many men want that? How
Sweetheart.
many are
Mm-mm.
available to you? How many
Right.
and what I've had to learn to do is in those moments, my question is always, okay, God, why am I here? Like, what are you trying to teach me in this
Mhm.
moment? Why am I here? Help me understand, like, this is a rough day. This is a rough,
Right.
and there
It's a rough
are
day. Right.
I want my person. There are days where I'm like, I see my sisters and their husbands. I see my mother and her husband. I'm sitting over here like, yeah, me and my car, we just gonna ride, we'll get in my car and
Right.
ride out. And in those moments, that's when I'm like, okay, God, I need you to help me understand what's going
Yeah.
on. Because if you don't, that feeding of, well, Sade, look around, look around
Mm.
everybody else has. And one
Mm.
thing my mother taught me is don't look at nobody else because you don't know what it took for them to get that or what it's taken for them.
Woo!
Yo,
Li-
the Jamaican statement for that is, um, um, don't buy big belly horse and can't feed it.
Oh,
You
my,
ever hear that?
my, my.
You ever
That's
hear that one?
that statement
What?
scares me.
Don't buy
That's
big
scary.
belly horse. My father
Who
always
that?
say, "Do you see that car that brother driving? He got a note on it.
He got a note on
Right.
the back.
Yo,
He got a
I,
note on it."
I promise you, Sade, when you said it a while ago, it pricked because I remember when between the time I was divorced, it was like a legit another 6, 7 years before I even considered marriage again. Right. And I would like, come on, guy. Like I can't be out and I'm in Atlanta. You know what Atlanta is, guy? Like I'm in, come on now. Like, and I'm
Ooh, hot
like,
Atlanta.
I'm like, and it was during the time where like you fresh out of New York, like it was a lot of love. And what I was, Pino, the life that I was living, being on the road on a regular basis, being at the like the yeah, the who's who
Easy.
party. Like
Can't
it was
even
in,
get
I'm there talking to God. And I remember getting back, like I want my person, and I remember getting back, am I not enough?
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Oh.
I like that.
Oh.
I
I
like that.
remember getting that back. Like,
Wow.
do you know how long that had me frozen?
Yeah.
Wow. Stuck.
Yeah.
I'm not
Wow.
enough.
You know, but
Mhm.
that's the interesting thing for me, and I know we gotta go. That's the interesting thing for me is that I feel that God is enough for me. When I went into marriage, it was different. You know, I was looking. I wanted a family. I wanted to have kids. I wanted, somebody. I was a stay-at-home mom. He take care of everything because that's what I saw my family do. Now God has provided everything for me.
See,
That my interest is so much different when you look at marriage at my stage and my age. I'm not looking for somebody to take care of me. I already got my children. I've done all these things. So that's what makes it so different for me and whatever God sees fits for the future. And somebody just posted, ask God to kill your flesh, and you do. We have to die daily, that God, to be obedient to the word of God. So I'm different. It's a different perspective.
Let me tell you
Tony,
something,
I'll say
sweetheart.
this
The
too,
flesh
because
can
of
die
where
daily,
God got.
but you're still not blind.
Yep.
Listen.
I would say,
Or
Tony,
no.
because of where God got you now, do you know what it's going to take for the next dude to come and even match the place and space in which God
Right.
got you right now? This got to be a custom order. You know what I'm saying? Like this
Wow.
joint got to be custom.
Order.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm
I
saying?
don't,
Like,
the funny
yeah,
thing is God, but
it's
I
tailor
don't need
made.
anything. And I'm not trying to say I don't, of course, but I don't need somebody to do this and do that and do this. It would be nice because I even, I got me a housekeeper. I'm doing my own girly things. God is doing this. He's doing this for me. He's my husband. And so you're right. It's going to have to be somebody specifically sent from God. And again, I'm not in a hurry. I just be honest.
Yeah, we know you're not in a hurry because you want to do all these things and then send them home.
Head on
It's
back
right.
to the
It's
crib,
right.
bro.
Just right here, please. It's right here.
And I think that's the thing. I think that
Head on back to
God
the
and
crib.
I had to have a come to Jesus moment, and I said, my desire is to please you. Like top notch. My desire is to please you, and everything else. And one night I was like, God, in every other area of my life, I see your hand. Why don't I see your hand in this area?
Yeah.
Like, what? And what am I doing something wrong? Is it me? And the Holy Spirit has to be like, just be still. Like you
Be still.
just be still. And that I think is the hardest thing because I'm like, I can get on the app. And the Holy Spirit like,
I know
don't.
people who do
You
it.
know what it is, Sade? When you ask that, I don't know, but my mind goes to, would Enoch have been translated if he had a wife?
Mm.
I don't know that she want to hear that question now.
Yeah, but I don't.
No. I'm not saying. I know. No. Tony, let me say this. Let me put the disclaimer on it. It's easy for me to say this as a married individual, but I remember being in that space right there when it's like it's. I'm not saying this proudly, but I've been a connoisseur of. Anyway, so right during that stage, and there were moments where I was like, she's showing love. It's fitting to happen.
Right.
Like I would go, I would be at a lot of places where I would just bump into, right? But to be able to say, and it's only because of the goodness, grace, or mercy of God, to be able to say, God, I'm good because I know what I just came up out of.
Right. That's right.
Or you remember where you've been.
That's right.
And I don't want to have to.
Oh, that'll do it.
You know what it is for you to just imagine you can't look God face to face. But I remember coming up. Come on, I'm from Brooklyn. I get in a lot of trouble. I used to get Pete can tell you, right? To look at my mom in the face after bailing me out of another situation and be like, and I'm talking about the young teen, the knucklehead teenager me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Listen,
to look right in the
even
face
for
and
God
be
to
like,
bail you out of your adult situation.
But that's the thing. I don't want it to have the whatever that face looked like, just the burden of that guilt, like that he had to do it for me again.
Yeah.
Again.
Right.
And I tell people all the time, I think the one of the things that saved me was the Message Bible. I don't know if y'all have ever read that translation.
Yes.
It's official.
When the Last Supper in the Message Bible made me realize that I can go to God the way I don't have to be all, dear Lord, thank you, Jesus. I can be like, sir, I don't know if you've seen my day.
Sir.
Like, I need you to come commune with me. Meet me here. Because in those moments where it feels like it's too much, that's when I need you to tell me that you got me. Like, that's when I need you to affirm me, Jesus. I need you to help me understand that I'm okay. And that it's not this downward spiral that I see or that I'm experiencing emotionally. It's just, Sade, this is a moment. This is
And the
not a life.
beautiful thing is that Jesus went through it, so he knows what we're going through. That's the beautiful thing about it. Anything we're experiencing, that's why I love that I can go to God and say, listen, this is how I'm feeling right now. Because
Right.
he felt it. He knows what it feels like, especially what he created. I mean, you created this, man. Like,
This is the problem that we have every time we have a show. These ladies come on here and they take over. You know, ah, yo, listen, family. It's 11 o'clock. It's
I
after
love it.
11 o'clock.
I love
Oh, I love it. I love it. I just we here from 9 to 11. Sometimes 9 to 10:30. I enjoy this,
yeah.
but before you go, so look. Hold on, somebody said bedtime.
bedtime.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Listen, let me share this with you before we go. I want to know from each of you, and if it's too personal, plead the fifth. Before we go, in the next year, where, if your core values align, where do you want to see yourself in relationship to someone else, or with the one you're with now?
Convicted.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Say it again.
Convicted.
Okay. Good word. That's a word. See, that's why I know you're gonna be a good pastor. That's a word. That's a word.
I'm coming to visit.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Tony,
Yeah,
Tony, go ahead.
I
You
don't
say you
know.
don't know.
Mm-mm. I don't know.
Okay, that's a good answer.
Mhm.
I
Good.
don't know. It's a good answer because look, 2 weeks ago you signed divorce papers. So right now you are in euphoria or smoking weed. So we don't know where you are right now. You don't know where you are right
I
now.
don't know where I am right
I
now.
got
Yeah.
5 on it. I'll just
You
play.
got
That's exactly right.
Yo,
Let me
I get.
just put it and be like, oh, he cute. We know you. I'm just playing.
I have
Come
no
on,
idea.
Sade. What about yourself?
Uh, the word I would use is I want to feel safe. I want to feel safe and covered. Like I want to feel safe to love. And I've always said, my greatest fear is falling in love with someone that's not ready to catch me.
Oh, girl.
Lord,
That's a
you
that's a
don't want
soundbite right there.
that. Ooh, you don't want
So,
that.
so I want to feel safe to, if that's where we are, where that's okay to do.
Yeah.
I got you. Kia Benjamin makes a comment. She says, after you've been through the trenches of hurt and pain, you think twice and ask God to remind you never to go back to where He delivered you from.
Mm,
Amen,
Wow,
Kia.
I
that's
like that,
good,
Kia.
Kia. That's
That's
good.
our Kia right there. Got you,
Uh-huh.
girl.
Yeah. Hi, honey. That's my baby right there.
Yeah, yeah. She's all that. Well, listen, I want to thank y'all for taking the time out
Hmm.
to join us. I'm gonna say it again. I've always said it before, but I never keep my promise. We don't want y'all never to come back on here again. Um,
Girl, we'll see you next
but
week.
you know, our numbers be low. Our numbers be low, and then when the ladies come on or if visitors come on, it just starts popping up like people tired of me and Quest.
Fireworks.
That's right.
Let me be the first. I love it, ladies. So when he not looking, I'm just gonna send y'all the link and then you jump on. You can be like,
Listen,
oh,
we're gonna go
this.
out one by one. Thank you, Sade. Thank you for coming on. Be blessed,
Thank
girl.
you. Have a good
You
night.
got it. You too.
Indeed.
Nicole, thank you for coming on, girl.
Bye,
Be
bye.
blessed, man. I love your truth and I love your respect level. Thank you so much, girl.
Most certainly love y'all.
All right now. Tony, goodbye.
Tony, that's a
Okay.
Yorkie. That's a Yorkie.
It's a Yorkie, yeah.
Yeah, we had one.
It's my granddog.
Oh,
I
this
got
your
you.
grand. We have what 17 years.
Oh wow. He don't
Uh,
live for 17 years?
He did live for
He did.
17
He
years.
4. So that means I got
She
13 more
did. Coco
years.
Chanel.
Good
Yeah.
Lord. Okay.
wow. And I got a sister-in-law who had hers for 19.
Oh
Claudie,
wow. That's awesome.
Claudie,
Yeah.
Miss Claudie.
All right, Tony, take care, girl.
All right. Thank you. Take
All
care.
right.
All right, mama.
Quest.
Pete, let me tell you, kid. It's just evidence to the fact that we still are growing, still learning,
Still
still
growing.
working on who we are as individuals.
Still growing. Let me tell you what I've learned tonight because this is therapy for me.
Yep, I got it,
Um, I've learned tonight that unless you live by your core values,
bro.
you will be an unguided person.
Bro.
That's real right there, bro. You will be an unguided person. I want to thank you, man, for just being able to just bring that to a place, especially to the mindset of conviction, man.
Brother.
Are you convicted?
Yep.
Are you convicted? For those who are on watching right now, we want to thank you for joining us. We're going to ask you to just share this. Share this with somebody. Share this
Yeah.
with a loved one. Share this with your spouse. Share it with your enemy. Just know this, that we are just grateful. Grateful that we spent some time with you all. So be
Peace,
blessed,
bro.
everyone. And continue to walk with God. We'll talk again soon.
Peace.
That's it. That's it. This tree is killing me. Hold that over there. Hold that. The tree is killing me.